Good morning. We are live in the reptile house today. We're going to be talking all about Baru, our saltwater crocodile. We've got Val and Hannah from the herpetology department here with us today. So while we get our audience together and give you guys a chance to get in and see everything, let us know you can hear us, you can see us, and we'll give some shout outs. All right, who's joining us here today? Let's see. Hi, Max. Hey, Alex. Good morning, Ruth and Napoleon. Hi, Alyssa. Hi, Valerie. Hey, Carter and Dad in Ann Arbor. Hi, Lincoln. Hey to Colton, Cassidy, and Isabel. Good morning, Anthony, Carlin, and Wyatt. Hey, Athena and Caden in Michigan. Hi, Tina. Thanks for tuning in today. Hi, Grayson and Carter. Good morning, Martha. Good morning, Kyler. Thanks for letting us know that you can hear us and see us. Good morning, Skylar. Happy Earth Day, Alex. Very, very good. We'll talk a little more about that later. But yes, happy Earth Day to everybody out there. Oh, we made Colton's day, guys. This is one of his favorites. Always love that when we can accomplish that mission. Good morning from Chase, Brantley, and Bryce. Hi to Morgan in Walbridge. Hi, Maya in Michigan. Hey, Tucker. Good morning, Annabelle and Madeline. Hi, Aiden and Molly in Monclova. Hey, Brooks, Beckett, and Vivian. Good morning, Addie and Alexa. Hey, Carly. Oh my goodness. Neve loves Baru. So 2 days made today, guys. Yeah. We're on a roll already. Hi, Bryn. Hey, Luke and Logan. Hi, Theo. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, Libby and Delaney and Finley. Good morning, Jack. Hi, Donna and Tiffin. Larry says he's beautiful. We think so too. We may be a little biased though, in all honesty. Hey, Rich. Think we know him. And I think Hannah also knows Jordan. Hannah is my cousin. Go, Hannah. Yes, always got to get the family shout outs there. Hi, Rebecca. Mama says crocodiles are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush. We'll talk about that later too. We were discussing that this morning, guys. All right. Oh, good afternoon to Debbie in the UK. And hi, Genevieve and Cormac. Good to see you. Hi, Dad and Trenton. Hey, Olivia. And happy birthday to Jackson in Michigan. Thanks for watching with us this morning. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here. We've got quite a few people joining us this morning. We are live in the reptile house, and we are going to be talking to Val and Hannah from our herpetology department, and they're going to be telling us all about Baru, our saltwater crocodile that came to us from Australia. So get your questions ready. But before we get there, we want to remind you today is a meal on the go day. No, I'm sorry, tomorrow is a meal on the go day. Place your order today, though. This week we're having barbecue pulled pork or Salisbury steak. We have some new add-ons, red velvet cake. We've got some adult beverages too. So make sure that you guys check that out at ToledoZoo.org/mealsonthego. And don't forget about our education department and all of their virtual offerings. We've got classes via Zoom on everything from animal training to horticulture and animal groups here at the zoo, exhibits, all kinds of stuff. So check that out at ToledoZoo.org/virtual. And of course, we thank you so much for tuning in and supporting us during this difficult time that we are closed to the public. We appreciate all donations. We do have a donate button here on our live feed, or you can go to ToledoZoo.org/donate and see all the ways that you can help support your zoo during this time. Thank you guys so very much. We appreciate seeing some of those same names every day and a bunch of new ones too. So keep tuning in. We're doing this every day. Every weekday, Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. All right, Val, Hannah, talk to us about this dude. He's so cool.
Well, Baru's been here since 2013. And he came to us from Darwin, Australia, up in the Northern Territories. And he came to us from the Daly River system, where he was a wild croc. He grew up in the wild. And he was trapped legally off of a cattle ranch where they perceived he might be a threat to the livestock there. And when he was trapped, he was put into an outdoor enclosure on a croc farm. And the hunt began for a zoo that might be interested in Baru because he's so big. 17 feet long and 1,500 pounds.
Wow.
Now, saltwater crocodiles get really, really large. The largest maybe can be 20 to 22 feet long, and they can weigh up to 2,200 pounds. So Baru probably isn't the largest saltwater crocodile ever, but when we brought him into captivity, we didn't bring it, when we brought him into the Toledo Zoo, he was probably the largest crocodile on exhibit in this hemisphere.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, he's on the move, guys.
Yep.
All right, talk to us, tell us what each of you are going to be doing today. Val, what's your role?
My role today is to answer questions and narrate, talk about Baru and his history, and Hannah is going to be doing the training session today. Now, we do training with Baru on a regular basis, and in his case, it's mostly to keep him occupied, to keep him busy, and to promote better muscle tone. It's to keep him, moving, because these are sit and wait predators that will just bask and sit still unless they're motivated to move by something. And so to keep him healthy, we do some simple training called target training to just keep him occupied. Now, Hannah's going to do the training today, and what she's going to be doing is going into the exhibit behind this little wall you see over here on the right, and she's going to have a long pole, and she's going to show Baru a place along the shoreline that she wants him to go. If he goes there and stays there the best he can since the water's moving, then she's going to blow a whistle. That means, good boy, you did what we asked you to do, and she's going to give him a food reward. You want to tell him what the food reward is?
Tell us what those are.
I'm going to be giving Baru some some frozen thawed rats. We take them out of the freezer, usually the night before we feed him. How much does it weigh, Val? About 3 pounds?
We're giving him 3 pounds of rats today. They're large rats that weigh about a pound apiece.
So he's got 3 of them, so we'll go through and do that 3 times. And then after he's trained for those, I'm going to give him some crocodile chow pellets. We've got some examples of those over there. They're just floating pellets that are commercially made, and he just has to get them off the surface of the water really gently. So I'll toss them by his head, and hopefully he'll be able to grab all those up before the fish eat them all.
All right. And how long have you been here working with Baru, Hannah?
I think it's been about 5.5 years now.
And Val, how about you?
I've been in this building as a reptile keeper for 38 years, and I've been at the zoo for about 41 altogether.
Oh my gosh.
And
right.
I've worked with Baru since we got him, so.
And when did he come here?
For 2013 in April.
All right, so it's basically his little anniversary of coming
Yeah,
here, huh? Very cool. All right, and Hannah, tell us, how quickly is this going to happen?
It's not super quick. I mean, I got to go back there and get set up. I'll open the door. Like I said, I've got 3 frozen thawed out rats. We've inflated them with air so that when I do toss them into the water, they're going to float on the surface. So hopefully you'll be able to see them, grab them. So it takes, I don't know, about 5 to 10 minutes total for the actual training process between giving him the rats and then the croc chow.
All right, well, Hannah's going to head back and get started here, and we will take some time here to answer some questions and give a few more shout outs. So let's go back here and scroll back to the beginning. All right, here we go. Oh, Lisa says, oh my gosh, we're so excited to see him out of the water. They really did get a cool view of his
Yes.
entire body. Tell us again how long he is.
17 feet long, and when he came in, he weighed 1,500 pounds. And if you're wondering how we weighed him, it wasn't easy. When he showed up in the crate that he was in, we weighed the crate with him inside of it. And then after we released him into the exhibit, we weighed the crate without him. And that's how we came to that figure of 1,500 pounds. Now for his little ups and downs in weight, like just about everybody has, we don't really know. We just rely on observing him closely so that we can tell if he looks like he's gaining or losing, and then we'll either increase or decrease the food amount that he gets.
All right, and talk to us. Hannah is here with
Okay.
her pole.
All right, she's showing him that she wants him to go over to the right, and he complied with that.
She just blew her whistle. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but now he's getting a food reward. And that was the inflated rat that
Yes.
you guys were talking about there. And as you can see, that is a quick process.
Yes. This does go quickly if he cooperates with the training. There's days when he's not quite as enthusiastic about it, and it takes longer. So we'll just see how he behaves today.
And Hannah is doing this via protected contact. She is behind a wall there. And he's gradually moving to where yep, he got the whistle.
It might surprise you to know that crocodilians are really intelligent, and they do remember, and they're quite trainable because they're entirely food motivated.
I bet.
And so it's not that difficult to get an intelligent animal who wants a reward to cooperate with you.
And Luke would like to know if the spikes on his back are spiky or sharp.
They're not really sharp or spiky. They're very stiff. They're bony. And so it's like bone covered with leather, which is basically what it is.
And Stephanie asks, has he been more active since there are fewer people around?
His activity level is about the same, I would say.
Okay. And Tyrus wants to know, does he regrow teeth when he loses them?
Yes. That's something interesting about crocodilians, is that they shed their teeth out on a regular basis and grow in new ones to replace them. And as the animals get older, we know this is an old animal because of his huge size, it takes them longer to replace those teeth.
And that leads right into Amelia, age 6. Her question is, how old is he?
Well, because he grew up in the wild, we're never going to know exactly how old he is. We know that crocodiles like this, saltwater crocodiles, can live around 70 years. That's kind of a guess, but that's what the data that we do have shows. And because he's huge, we're thinking he's probably somewhere between 50 and 70 years old.
Nice. And Noah asks, how many spikes are there along his back?
Oh, no. You're the first one to ask me a question that I have no idea how to answer. I'm not going to go in there and count them for you today, but we can look at a picture and figure that one out.
All right, we'll
We'll
have to keep you posted on that one. And Nathan, age 10, would like to know, what do they eat?
In the wild crocodiles will eat all kinds of animals that are moving. They'll eat fish, they'll eat things that fall into the water, animals that are struggling in the water. They'll eat animals that come down to the shoreline to get a drink. It depends on what type of crocodile you're talking about and how large they are. The diet depends on species and size.
All right. And they are mainly, would they be considered omnivores?
No,
Or
they
carnivores?
are top predators or carnivores.
All right. And Wyatt asks, what's the purpose of those bumps on the back?
It's like armor, and I imagine that these ancient animals that haven't changed a whole lot in centuries and centuries probably developed that as protection.
And it probably also helps a little bit with the coloring and the moving of the water to camouflage.
Yes, I'm sure it probably does.
And Lynn asks, why does he keep his mouth open for a long time?
He was basking when you saw him on shore. He was collecting heat. Because they're cold-blooded animals and not mammals like we are, they use their calories differently, and they have to attain the body temperature they need by going to a place that's that temperature. So we have buried heat coils underneath this sand, and we have a radiant heater overhead, and when he needs to digest his food or warm up to the temperature where he wants to move around, he has to get out and bask. And they do that often with their mouths open.
All right. And Mason, age 7, wants to know, how much can he eat in a day?
Oh, well, he probably could eat an awful lot in a day, but because we don't want him to become overweight, he is not fed every day. We feed Baru several times a week, but we go by the amount of food we're giving him. And right now he's taking in about 10 to 15 pounds a week, sometimes more than that, depending on what he's getting fed. The reason we're concerned is that since they don't use their calories to heat their bodies like mammals do, they can become overweight easily in captivity. And it's kind of hard to get extra weight off of a crocodile once it's there.
I bet.
So we're worried about his health, so we kind of keep track of what he gets. So he doesn't get fed every day. That was 3 pounds of rats you just saw him get, and then he can get some other item that weighs more later on this week probably.
And in the wild, he probably wouldn't eat every day.
No, they would. They're so opportunistic, though, because they're working for a living out there, and food isn't just handed to them like it is here at the zoo.
Sure.
So if they find a big item and they can consume it, they do. So they can actually hold a lot of food, going back to the original question. He could probably eat a whole lot every day for a while if he had the opportunity.
Okay. And Brian wants to know, was it hard to transport him?
That was quite a process. They had to build a crate in Darwin that could fit him comfortably, but the planes up there at their airport weren't the giant jets that you find at the larger airports, and they couldn't carry a giant crate. And so they had to make a square crate and kind of wrap him around inside of it, and then they put him on a plane and flew him to a bigger airport in Australia, and then flew him across to the United States, and then flew him across to, so he had a lot of different stages of the journey until finally he got put on a truck at the Toledo Express Airport and brought here.
What was the total length of time from when he left Australia to when he came here?
Because they're a day different from us, if I added that in, it would be like 2 days.
Wow, all right. And Roland wants to know, how fast can he move?
Oh, that's a good question. They always look like they couldn't do much. He's so massive. But they are capable of explosive bursts of movement. So he could lunge forward very quickly, and for a really short period, he could run very fast.
All right. And Logan wants to know if he would eat birds.
Yes, they would eat birds if they had the opportunity. A bird that was in the water or fell in the water or was unsuspecting, and So yes, definitely they would eat birds.
Ainsley, age 7, wants to know how big his teeth are.
Well, he has several different sizes of teeth, just like we do. But the largest teeth that he has are probably about 2 inches long.
Wow, 2 inches. That's pretty,
yeah, they're pretty big.
Pretty big.
Yep, pretty
and
respectable.
how many teeth?
That is a question that I can't answer off the top of my head, that I know the answer to and don't remember when I need it.
That's all right. That's something we can definitely Google.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up.
And Gemma asks, does he ever eat any of the fish in here?
And that's a good question too. The fish have a history, but no, he does not bother the fish very much. That's not what his normal fare would be. Also, the fish are fairly small compared to him, and they're very, very agile. They can move a lot faster than he can. They can dart under his head, under his belly, so that when he goes to grab them, they can get out of his way. It would be a lot of effort for him to eat the fish. Plus, he just doesn't seem like he wants them. He's not very interested. But the reason the fish are in the exhibit is because when Baru first came here, like all crocodilians that get shipped somewhere that they're not used to and go through the whole stressful thing of being put in a crate, put in an airplane, he stopped eating for a while. We knew he would do that. So at the Australian end of things, they put a little extra weight on him. And when he got here, we had time then to go ahead and try to find something he would eat. These are tilapia. We put him in there because we thought that the movement would stimulate him to go after the prey. But we were wrong. And he wasn't really very interested in the tilapia. And so now we have a thriving school of tilapia to make our exhibit more lively. And Baru, the only time he really eats them is when I tell people that he doesn't eat the fish.
Of course, yes. You live and learn, right?
Yep.
And Isabel and Colton want to know, how long is his tail?
Well, you mean what percentage of his body? We would have to go measure. That's not the kind of question that I can really just answer. I would say from looking at him from the side, which he's obliging us by being in a straight position, that's probably about a third of his body length, but it might be more.
So we're looking at 5-6 feet?
Probably, yeah.
All right. And Lucas wants to know how strong his bite is.
Oh, they're capable. Hannah, do you know the answer to that about the pounds per?
I know for American alligators it's 2,000. I know American alligators have a bite force of about 2,000 psi. His has got to be more than that. Their heads are bigger, so.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, and Amelia wants to know, how often do they lose their teeth?
I'm not sure there's a set answer to that. With a lot of animals, things happen more quickly when they're younger and growing, and then tend to slow down as they become adults and then older animals. I know that with the older crocodiles, they don't grow them back as quickly. They obviously don't drop them all at the same time, or else they wouldn't have any teeth at all, for a while.
Sure. But
I don't know the exact answer to that question.
Okay. And how long can saltwater crocs live?
The data that's out there, which is sketchy because not that many people have observed one from the time it hatches till the time it dies to prove how long, is about 70 years. Again, there could be ones that live longer, but we wouldn't know. And for wild animals, there's really no way to collect that information. Again, somebody would have to know when it hatched.
Exactly.
And follow it for its whole lifetime until it died. So we don't have exact answers to a lot of things aren't as simple to answer as they would seem to be.
Sure. And Megan wants to know, Hannah, what's the benefit of the target training that you were doing?
Well, there's a couple reasons why we do it. One is for his benefit. It gives him exercise, gets him moving around. Another benefit for us would be just to be able to move him wherever we need to move him. So obviously this is a large, dangerous animal. It's not an animal that we can get hands on. We haven't had hands on him since he came here, and then he was sedated. So to be able to move him, let's say he has an abrasion or something like that, and we have to be able to get a look at it. It's nice to be able to move him around in the enclosure so that we can actually see him. Every morning when we come out here, we get a look at him, especially when he's up on land basking. We don't always have that luxury. In the summertime, it seems like he basks more in the winter on the land, but to be able to give him exercise and then also to be able to shift him, hopefully at some point. We haven't actually done that, but that's one of our goals, is to be able to do that.
Very nice. And Ashley wants to know, how thick is the glass between us and him?
It's about that thick.
It's about an inch. There's quite a bit between us. Yep.
I didn't measure that when it was put in, but it's really thick glass.
What did you say was the biggest crocodile that you think could be out there?
For saltwater crocodiles, it's said, and I've seen this written in various places, that probably 20 to 22 feet and up to 2,200 pounds. Again, that's a generalization because of what I mentioned before, the difficulty of getting that type of information.
Sure. And for comparison, he is, you said, about
17 feet and 1,500 pounds.
All right. And Mike wants to know, what do you think is the most rewarding thing about working with Baru?
He's a really intelligent animal with his own personality. And watching him, an older animal that's been brought into captivity, adjust to a new home and respond to our training, and knowing that he knows who we are, because he knows us, he knows Hannah, he knows me. We're pretty much the croc team in the department. And he knows the others as well. It's just interesting to see how he's managed to adapt and his responses to us.
That's awesome.
And don't get me wrong about responses, because he will never be a tame animal. This training that we do, we have respect for him, but he's no pet. and he's always going to be a dangerous animal, a dangerous predator that we have to be, follow strict safety rules with.
And you guys are always doing things via protected contact.
Yes.
Right. And Autumn asks, how do you clean the water that he's in?
Well, it's filtered, and luckily we haven't had any reason to go in and actually clean it. So it gets backwashed every day by our maintenance department. They come in and go into the filter room and they backwash it, and new water comes in, so we keep it circulating all the time. Also, I might mention that it's not salt water, because sometimes people want to know whether we have to keep them in salt water. And we don't. This is fresh water. Saltwater crocodiles are capable of spending time in salt water, and sometimes can be found ranging far out into the ocean where you wouldn't expect to see a crocodile. And they're called salties in Australia because of that. Also, crocodiles in general have a salt gland that helps them expel excess salt, which makes it possible for them to be more tolerant of brackish or salty water, where alligators don't have. They have the gland, but it's not functional.
Interesting. And Chloe, age 11, would like to know, how long do the moms have to incubate the eggs?
Oh, they build a nest mound. Incubation's probably, 60 to 80 days?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. And it varies a little bit by species and by temperature for the incubation. That one would be one where you probably get more accurate information by looking that up, by looking up a saltwater crocodile, and you'd get a specific, probably, incubation information.
And Logan wants to know, do they breathe underwater?
They can't breathe underwater, but they can hold their breath a long time. They have great lung capacity.
And Opal wants to know, what is his name?
Baru. And that means crocodile ancestor or crocodile in the language of the Aboriginal tribes in the Northwest Territory in Australia.
And Sam and Charlotte ask, what are predators to the saltwater crocodile?
When they're this large, not many. When they're babies, though, all of the same predators that would go after any small animal, even other crocodiles, large birds, small mammals, anything that could eat an animal that it would be like a small lizard. So they would have a lot of enemies when they were young, and then as they got bigger, they would have less and less until it came down to just old age, injuries, or people.
All right. And Jaden wants to know if they sleep with their eyes open or closed.
Closed as far as I've seen. Yeah.
All right. And Samuel asks, is he ever going to be a dad?
No, that wasn't the plan. It's hard to put these guys together. They're solitary animals, except during breeding time, and it's a very dangerous proposition to put two big saltwater crocodiles together. They might not get along. If they fight, you'd have to know how to separate them. And because they probably have to live most of their lives separated, you would need another exhibit at least this big for the female. But the main reason is that they are no longer an endangered species, and that a huge animal like this, that's old, is better as an ambassador to teach people about crocodiles. But no, he probably has been a dad many times in his life in the wild, but he won't be a dad in Toledo.
All right. And Isabel asks, how cold is that water?
About 80, 82 degrees we keep it at. It's heated.
All right, let's see. Krista asks, how is a crocodile different from an alligator?
There's three basic things. The crocodiles in general, as compared to the alligators and caimans and gharials, have a long V-shaped snout, and the teeth are visible on the outsides of the snout. Alligators have a broader, more spatulate snout, and you don't see the bottom teeth, and sometimes there's a little bit of an overbite there. Another is where they live. Alligators are found in North America, and they're found in China. But crocodiles, there's 14 species, are found in India, Africa, Northern Australia, Madagascar, but only one species in the United States, and that's a very rare animal down in Florida. So where they live, what they look like, And I said 3. What did I?
Is teeth a separate one?
Well, go ahead. Yeah.
You already mentioned the teeth, but I think it's the 4th tooth on the
Yeah,
bottom.
there you
jaw.
go.
All right.
That's like the main thing.
That's the tell, huh?
Yeah.
All right. And Jojo asks, does he nap? And if so, how long does he nap?
I think he naps a lot, actually. I think he was napping before we came in here, and then usually after we're done training him, he'll kind of hang out like he's hanging out right now, but once we leave, he's probably going to retreat to his back area that he likes to hang out in the back. It makes him look tiny when he's back there. And he'll probably nap while he's back there.
And Ashley asks, does he prefer to eat on the shore, on the bank, or in the water?
So in general, they tend to eat in the water, and we try to mimic that here as well, not only for our safety, but also because it is a natural behavior. They are sit-and-wait predators. Generally, they lurk around with their eyes sticking out, and an unsuspecting animal, might go on the shoreline to get a drink, and then they'll lunge out really quickly and grab them. So most of the time, they're going to be in the water when they eat.
And Matt says, do they shed their skin?
They do shed their skin, but not like a snake does. It comes off in little pieces. I don't think that I've ever actually seen it, but it
No,
does.
I don't think you're going to, because they stay wet so much of the
Yeah.
time.
Sure. And Lane and Ella ask, how deep is that pool?
I think it's about 8 to 10 in the middle. I used to know the dimensions of it better. I don't remember, but it's definitely over the head of a person.
And Elena, age 8, asks, what is Baru's favorite food?
Well, he pretty much takes what we give him, but when he first came here, we had heard that he was being fed frozen, thawed-out chickens in Australia, and so that was the first thing we tried on him, and he wanted nothing to do with chickens here, and still to this day isn't really very interested in chickens, so maybe he was kind of chickened out in Australia, I don't know. But he does seem to really like the rats that he's given. We also feed him things like frozen, thawed-out rabbits sometimes, and occasionally frozen, thawed-out deer legs. But the food that he responded to first here, when he first started eating again, was a roast from Kroger's.
Okay, and that leads into Lucy's question. Is there anything, besides the chicken that you mentioned, is there anything he won't eat?
Well, he wasn't real hot about chickens, but eventually, after a couple years, he would take them occasionally. But that's about the extent of the food things that we offer him. So we haven't really offered him anything else he doesn't really seem to like, except the tilapia in the pool.
I was going to say, we were just talking about how he's not too interested in the fish that live with him.
Right.
Though. And Carlin would like to know, are crocodiles related to dinosaurs?
Because of taxonomy, that's a really tough question.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of my tree.
Yeah.
I mean, I know crocodilians are lumped in a category called archosaurs along with birds, but
Yep.
that's about as far as I can think back.
Yeah, dinosaur can be meaning the dinosaurs with a specific,
Yeah.
or it can mean, ancient
Yeah.
creatures in general. And I think this question probably, I would say, not the way you would think. They're not related to the dinosaurs that lived on land. They're, archosaurs were aquatic.
All right. And Lila says, can you tell us his name and what it means again?
It's Baru, and in the Aboriginal language of some of the tribes in the Northwest Territory, way up at the top of Australia, it means crocodile ancestor, or just crocodile in general use. And Baru, the ancestor crocodile, was a really important figure in their culture and in their religion. So this is an animal that is revered and held dear to the Aboriginal people.
And just for spelling's sake, that is B-A-R-U,
Yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Julie says, does he cough, sneeze, snore, yawn like some of the other animals we've seen?
He burps when we give him them deer legs.
He does.
And he'll blow bubbles out of his snout, too. He was doing that the other day.
He can bellow. He can make, during the breeding season, he starts to do some different behaviors. One is head smacking. He'll take his head and he'll pound it down on the water, and that just like echoes all over the place. So you know when he's doing that.
Oh, yes. And you mentioned earlier that you had some artifacts to show us?
Yeah. I'll just come through here. Hannah, I'm going to give you these because you fed him. And okay. We did talk a little bit about crocodile incubation, but I thought I would show you what crocodile eggs actually look like. This egg is from a slender-snouted crocodile. That we used to have that species here at the zoo. This egg is from a Cuban crocodile that we used to have at the zoo. They're hard like chicken eggs, and they can crack about the same way. When a baby crocodile is ready to hatch, it has a little tooth on the end of its snout called an egg tooth. And it scores the inside of that egg in stripes until it can come out, and also makes little noises, all the crocodilians do, that alert the mother that something's going on in that nest and that she needs to come help. And she'll come and open the nest up, and she'll go in there and take the eggs out in her mouth and gently crack the eggs open and help those babies out.
And then how long will they stay with the mother?
They stay with the mother quite a while in some species. I think with saltwater crocs it's like 6 or 8 months.
Wow.
No, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's 6 or 8 weeks. Do you know?
I would lean more towards 6 to 8 months.
It could be, because they protect them, and they're awfully small when they hatch out.
Sure. And Hannah, what do you have here?
These are the croc biscuits that I gave him earlier after I gave him the frozen thawed rats. So it's just a commercially made diet. Kind of smell like fish oil. They've got a lot of protein in them. Good source of minerals for him. So when we give him the frozen thawed out rats, it's a good source of calcium for him. He's eaten the whole skeleton of the animal essentially. But sometimes there aren't minerals that he can get, it's like vitamins for him basically.
Sure.
So we started giving him these, a year and a half, 2 years ago. We weren't sure if
Probably.
he'd go for them because they're so tiny. And he had to get used to, gently moving his head to the side to grab them, because if he's aggressive, they just float away. And then the fish eat him.
But he's learned pretty well.
Yes, he seems to like them. In fact, I think I threw one right in his mouth. I need to practice.
You're getting good too, huh?
Yeah.
I love it. All right, PJ wants to know about his legs. What can you tell us about his legs?
Well, he's got great big feet that are webbed in the back for aid in swimming. He's got long toes that have nails. And let's see, his hind feet are much bigger than our feet. If you would put your foot down next to his, it is really amazing how big those feet are. His legs, though, the legs of a crocodile are longer in back than they are in front, so that when they walk, the rear end is kind of hoisted up because that keeps the tail up in the air a little bit so that it doesn't drag so much on the ground. But the bigger they get, the more difficult it is for them to walk for long periods because they put on a lot of body bulk. And so the legs of a crocodile this size aren't going to carry him too far if he weighs 1,500 pounds. Mm-hmm. And he has legs that really are more adept for swimming than they are for walking.
And that leads right into Finn's question of how big are their claws?
I was looking at his rear claws yesterday, and I would say some of those rear claws are like 2.5 inches long. And they're shorter on the front feet, but they're fairly long, especially in the back.
All right. And Kimberly says, does he get regular vet checkups?
He doesn't get them the same way that the rest of the zoo animals get them. The larger and more dangerous an animal is, the more difficult it is for us to do hands-on health checks. But the animals here get like remote checks, like visual checks, and they also get things like fecal analysis to see if there's internal parasites, which can be easily treated with medications that are put in the food, things like that. But it would really be a major thing for us to have to sedate him and try to get him out of there if he had an injury or a real illness. But he's been very healthy. We've been very lucky with Baru.
And Lucy wants to know, did he ever misbehave around visitors?
Well, it depends on what you mean by misbehave. Ask me if visitors have ever misbehaved around Baru.
Let's flip that question around.
Okay.
Does he seem to interact with them at all?
Yeah, he does. He will follow, especially at night. These guys are highly nocturnal. And when we have some of our night events here, he will sometimes lunge. Other crocs that we've had here have done the same thing. He will sometimes lunge at people that are trying to get his attention through the glass. So sometimes that happens. And I will have to say, he does seem to focus on the smaller, more brightly dressed humans that come to see him.
So he has an affinity for brightly dressed little kids. Huh?
He watches.
That's very cool. Very cool. And talk to us about his eyesight.
Crocs' eyesight isn't their main sense that they use for things, but it's important. And they have pretty good eyesight.
All right, we're going to end today with Tara's question of when is the best time for visitors to come and see him active?
That would be during one of our scheduled training sessions, just like the one you saw Hannah do today. In the past, we've done that on a pretty regular basis on certain days in the summertime, and that information would be on the website if we were to start doing that again. Other than that, he gets fed at random times. If you happen to be here when we do a feeding or training, then you get to see it. But if we go back to the scheduled feeds, then that would probably be the best time to be guaranteed to see him do what you saw him do today.
Very nice. Well, thank you guys so much for teaching us all about Baru. And we look forward to the time when we can welcome you guys back and you can see these training sessions in person. But until then, stick with us for these Facebook Lives each weekday from Monday through Friday at 10:30. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye, everybody.